This is why you don't invite Israelis into your home. You don't even allow
That's
them
not
to
why I don't invite them into my home.
I mean, there's many reasons, but this is one of the main ones.
Okay.
From the Italian Times, Valsesia, the Italian Alpine Valley, turning into an Israeli colony.
Wait. And where do we know? Where is this? What valley did you just say? What is it? Which valley?
Alpine Valley.
Okay, so then this is northern Italy. So this is really upsetting because, you know, one of my bucket list trips is through the Dolomites. And so now these fucks are there. So unfortunate.
From Borgosesia to Varallo, passing through Crava
Crava.
Giuliana and Scopello.
Cravagliana, maybe.
And Scopello. The valleys of Piedmont are experiencing a rather unusual demographic revival. At the center of this transformation is Progetto Beata, an initiative that has already brought more than 80 Israeli families to Valsesia, around 250 people with over 400 registered members. Determined to start a new life and invest in a territory that until recently has been marked by depopulation. On paper, this appears to be a story of pure administrative pragmatism and hospitality, often framed under the label of the so-called Varallo model. Yet, when observing the dynamics through the lens of the current international power relations, profound moral and political distortions emerge. This case reflects broader global tensions around migration, inequality, and geopolitical accountability. Jen, if you would, please.
I'm looking on the map to see if I can see where this is. Yeah, okay. So this is actually not, all right, well, this doesn't interfere with my bucket list is what I'm going to say. This is actually closer to, yeah, this is east of that. Okay. Not that I don't feel bad for those people, but the dominant narrative in the media focuses on the rescue of small towns and the flight of people tired of the tensions of war. Ugo Luzzati, the creator of the project, described the initiative's origins as follows. I used to come to Valsesia. That doesn't sound Italian, Valsesia, with my family on vacation. But at a certain point, I began spending more and more time there until I moved. My country changed, something broke. The 2023 judicial reform split Israel. It was the escalation of events in the Middle East that turned this migration into a structured exodus. Since October 7th, our association has played a fundamental role, emphasizing the need to move away from the escalation of war. On the other side, local administrations in the Vercelli area have embraced the arrival of these people and their capital. There it is right there. With evident enthusiasm, overshadowing the geopolitical weight of this demographic transplant. The mayor of Valsesia, Pietro Bondetti, proudly celebrates the impact. Classes this full hadn't been seen since the 1960s. Before their arrival, this area was at risk of demographic desertification. Today, we have been reborn.
How much do you think you got paid to say that shit?
Oh, that. And you have not been reborn. You have been infested.
Infested. A collective narrative that unites
institutions, not invested.
Celebrating families arriving in search of a peaceful and serene life. Far from the dangers of wars, reported on the website, the Jewish community of Milan, the same community that, though its vice president, Dalia Gubi, expressed deep concern about a growing climate of hostility and anti-Semitism in Italy and Europe. Each time it gets worse. I consider myself a strong woman, but when I talk about it, I feel emotional. There are moments when we truly feel like it's the 1930s again. Some things are very, very similar, too similar. The same community that condemns the violence perpetrated against flotilla activists while also describing the activists' actions as provocative. Defending Israel also means demanding that its institutions always act in respect of human dignity, law, and democratic values, said Walker Megnage, president of the Jewish community of Milan, regarding the events in which Israel attacked the flotilla. Yet it is the same community that labels as anti-Semitic anyone who criticizes Israel, its policies, and its Zionist ideology, such as ANPI, Italy's National Association of Partisans, which through its president, Gianfranco Pagliarulo, has threatened legal action. Your turn.
Luzzatti explains the painful choice that accompanied them, speaking of how democracy in Israel has come to an end. Never existed, but describing an irreversible process that will lead to the country's downfall. However, he says they do not want labels and are not dissidents. So in other words, they're just pussies. Okay. Many of the new residents are freeloaders. As clarified by Luzzatti, almost all the newcomers are graduates holding prominent positions: doctors, pharmacists, engineers, and IT professionals. Some are trying to integrate into their local labor market. But as Luzzatti also explains, many continue to work in Israel and with its war economy from home in the Piedmont Mountains. So in other words, they're still working for Israel. They're still supporting the Israel economy. They're not supporting the Italian economy. They're just living there and working remotely because they're pussies. That's the gist of what I'm.
Well, they're chosen, Jen. Don't forget.
Okay. Well, I'm just making sure. So they're okay. They don't have a problem with what's going on in Ziohel. They just don't want anything to happen to them.
Correct.
Got it. Typical. I lost where I was.
But
summertime, is that what it is? Oh, okay, you got it.
But as Luzzatti also explains, many continue, okay, so as you pointed that out, we are thinking of an academic hub focused on cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. They really do make it so easy for you to not care whether they all burn in hell. Really, like, no. How could you not? We care about cybersecurity and AI. That's what you're focused on? Fields in which
the reason they're getting away with this, and this is what I'm gathering from this article, is that this town was very underpopulated. Yeah. These areas were so underpopulated that they really needed the economic input. Yeah. And so that makes them ripe for the infestation. That's how they do. I mean, that's the easiest way for them to do it. And I kind of understand that to some extent, because there are a lot of towns that are dying and died. And so you don't want that either. But this is what they're going to prey on. And all I can do is hope that the locals, that anybody local, that Italian people do not tolerate this.
And you're also seeing the remnants of what a failed capitalist system does, because remember, it isn't just about the United States. It's economics the world over. We are still technically the world's economic superpower. And as a result, so many nations adhere to our economic philosophy. And as a result, because there are no guardrails anymore and really haven't been, and now Trump is accelerating it to such an extent that the concentration of wealth has become so grandiose that these communities that are dying and desperate, and the Zio entity has so much of the financial capability, they can come into these communities. We'll solve your problem. We'll give you money. You give us land, and the rest is history. And this is going to repeat itself in a lot of places unless the world rises up. That's really what's needed. You see what the Albanians are doing? Everybody needs to take a cue from what they're doing. Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank know something about that. The technological security and defense sector, with its expertise and capital, together with the country's most prestigious universities, forms a unified system with the state in constituting what it is described as Israel's machinery of apartheid and ethnic cleansing.
Colin, thank you. Okay, the moral crux of this story also lies in the structural privilege of mobility. Again, the wealthy people get to do this. This new promised land in the heart of Valsesia is accessible only to those with strong passports and financial resources. While Western governments facilitate these citizens' right to move freely, purchase alpine cottages, and obtain high-speed fiber optics for remote work, The civilian population of Gaza faces extermination and a total siege, deprived of water, hospitals, and any means of escape. An inequitable idea becomes normalized, that escaping war is a luxury right. Exactly. That's what exactly.
1,000%.
It's so gross.
It's like the letters of transit. The asymmetry is stark, especially in the reality experienced by Varela. Same Piedmont community waited in vain for the arrival of a single Palestinian family fleeing conflict. The attempt failed because the family remained trapped in Gaza, crushed by continuous bombings and an insurmountable system of denied visas. The redevelopment of a part of Italy is thus built on a particularly harsh privilege, a contrast that condemns Palestinian civilians to a repeated role as victims, confined within the Strip with no way out, while those who leave behind the state responsible for their massacre, even while continuing to work for it remotely, find in the Alps hospitality, safety, and space for a new beginning. Money talks and justice walks, and that's essentially what you have here. And this is going to be the last sort of will and testament of the Zionist cause, because what they have is resources. That's what they have. Their ideology is for nothing. I don't think most, if any, people even embrace it at this point. However, when you have control of the gold, for now, there are people that will open their doors. But what's going to happen, which has been happening, as it's been displayed in this story and in many other stories, when they open the doors for them, they regret it very quickly. They're like, oh, I don't know why the hell we did this. Whatever we had before, we're much better off. Israelis are not endearing people. They are the most despised people. And that, in many ways, is the conclusion of the story tonight. But this will just take a couple of minutes, Jen. I just want to touch on this really quick. When we think about the issues that exist amongst the elite class, this covers all cultures. This isn't just Israel. This is Iran as well. And as we have pointed out, the Iranian diaspora, particularly in Southern California, is very much like the Cuban exiles in South Florida and a lot of these other cultures. You've put it very eloquently, Jen. Let's play it, and then you'll explain why this is this way.
Team is not Iranian team. This is IRGC team. Terrorists. They are supporting terrorists.
Dumb. If I don't agree with the regime, that doesn't mean I don't support the team. The team is different. These are the people that represent Iran. I don't care about the politics. It's for Iran, for the Persian people. I'm supporting Iran. I'm not supporting the regime.
The team represents all Iranian people.
We're at the Iran-Belgium match here in Los Angeles, home to the largest Iranian community outside of Iran. And the mood here is very divided. For many people, it's not just a football match. It's more become a battleground over the Iran they believe in. Outside the stadium, protesters were boycotting the match. They argue that supporting Iran's national team is, in effect, supporting the Iranian government. Some Iranian players served with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard for their mandatory military service.
There is no way that we can separate politics from soccer, from sport. When they score goal, we do not feel anything. We are not happy.
Are you attending the game?
Yes.
Can you explain this privilege that exists within this community as well?
Are you talking about the wealthy community of the people that have left their origin country?
Sure.
So we've talked about this before, and it applies to Iranians, it applies to Cubans, it applies to Venezuelans, it applies to basically everyone, because at the end of the day, it's a class war. It's a class war. It's a class war. It's a class war globally. So when you see people that have left countries where they at one point were, king shit a fuck mountain, And then some sort of socialist movement came to happen in that country, and they were no longer that. And so they left and came here where they could still just be wealthy. And so from here, what they want to do is they want to push back their home country to how it was for them. It was good for them. It was good for them when the right was in charge. They don't want a socialist situation. So that's what it is. It's the wealthy people.
So you won't be cheering?
No, I will not be.
Iranian fans have shown up with the lion and sun flag, which FIFA has banned as a political symbol. The lion and sun flag was Iran's national symbol before the 1979 revolution and is especially popular among the Iranian diaspora community here in LA, many of whom fled after the revolution. And you'll be trying to bring this in?
Of course.
And what will you do if they try to take it away?
I will try to bring them in. If I can't, guess what? I have one here.
Some fans got their lion and sun flag confiscated as FIFA has prohibited them. As you can see, people have managed to smuggle the lion and sun flag inside the stadium. But many Iranians also say cheering for the team doesn't mean supporting the government.
People come first, not the government.
What do you think the national team of Iran represents for you?
Oh, they represent the entire Iranian community, whether inside the Iran or outside. We're all united. We're all cheering for the same team.
I do not agree with the government in some aspects, but we are all from Iran and we want the best for our countries.
See, that's normal. That's a normal person response, even if, you are not in agreement, whatever.
Which is why so much of this is based on class.
Yeah. But there are people that are now the next generation. So like that young woman who, she does. I mean, maybe her parents had that, and maybe she was in some way raised from the descendants of that, but she seems to just be pretty typical, right? Like, I mean, I don't think that that's most people of the next generation that weren't so overly indoctrinated by their parents.
I also think it's fair to say that, and we have to preface this with, obviously the Iranians are not conducting themselves anywhere near the way that Israelis conduct themselves. However, it is a reflection in many respects that this truly is a class war. And that's what it's always been. And that's what it always will be.